Big Dash knows what?
Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Today's video is a preview of Week 17 the New York Giants versus the Indianapolis Colts. In a win and you're in type of situation. Not even a type of situation. This is a win and the New York Giants are in the playoffs situation. A must win at home to go ahead and take yourself into the playoffs. Brian Dable, Mr. Wink Martindale, Mike Kafka. What are you telling the guys this week? That's my question. What are you saying to these players to get them ready for this game? I don't even think you need to tell these players anything. I was in the spaces early, and one of the things that came up was this: how many players currently on the roster have started in a playoff game for the New York Giants? And my first thing I said was nobody, and then somebody brought up Landon Collins. He was the last person, him and Sterling Shepard, but I'm talking about people that are playing and not injured. He was the last person that was a part of a New York Giants playoff caliber team. Everybody else has no experience being in the playoffs as a New York Giant. It's such a big deal for the New York Giants to make it to the playoffs this year, in my opinion. Not even thinking about the future in 2023. I'm talking about right now, today, with this roster this year, this season, 2022. It is so important for these New York Giants and the guys on this roster. Some of the key building blocks to this roster, they need this type of playoff experience, man, to take into the future. They need to get a taste of what it's like to play playoff football. I expect the New York Giants to move in a trajectory, the upwards trajectory of being a constant contender in the playoffs for years to come. For years to come, and it starts this year. It starts with these building blocks. Guys like Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, McKinney, even though he's not playing, but he will be a part of the team. Guys like Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence. These guys need to experience NFL playoff football, and it's so very important to take care of business in this game. So let's talk about this game. The Indianapolis Colts, man, as far as the situation goes, it's crazy over there. It's absolutely crazy over there. You know, the head coach got fired. They grabbed somebody off of ESPN to be the head coach. Not just anybody. I'll give the man more respect than that. Jeff Saturday is the interim coach, a head coach for the Indianapolis Colts. And it seemed like it was going to be a joke, but the guy actually has these dudes playing. And, you know, they actually won a couple games with him as the head coach. But at the end of the day, still, they are not a good football team in the entirety of that team. Their defense, pretty damn good, I will admit to that. But their offense has been, especially without Jonathan Taylor, not very exciting at all. They do have a couple of playmakers, or guys that have the ability to make plays, but I don't think that the guys that they have will be that damaging to what the New York Giants are trying to do on defense, especially with Wink Martindale. Now, Matt Ryan will not be starting. It's going to be Nick Foles starting, and we saw him in the Chargers game with his first start throw 3 interceptions. Should have been 4 interceptions because Murray dropped one in the first drive. It should have been 4 interceptions, ended up being 3 interceptions. So I think that if we play our style of football, or Wink style of football, but we're able to get good interior linebacker play, and I say it week after week after week, linebackers matter. That interior linebacker crew matters so much to this team. If we can get some consistent good play out of those guys, I do not see the Indianapolis Colts being a problem or preventing the New York Giants from being able to stop them. I think we can stop their offense, absolutely. Now, on the defensive side, they have a pretty good to good defense. Now, what the New York Giants did in Minnesota last week surprised me. I saw a lot of things that impressed me, especially Daniel Jones's game, anticipation, a little bit of pocket awareness. You know, receivers were not waiting on balls to get there. They were getting hit in stride, and the balls were coming fast. Pause. But again, Daniel Jones showed me something last week, and a lot of people always talk about it. Well, he shows us glimpses. You know what I mean? That he always gives us a quick spark, and then it fizzles away. Well, let me tell you this. Daniel Jones knows what's on the line. The whole damn team knows what's on the line. And if he cannot repeat the type of performance that he did with the Minnesota Vikings, maybe he shouldn't be here. But then on the other hand, if he does even better than what he did in Minnesota, the Giants clinch a playoff berth and go into the playoffs, and he can take this type of momentum and go into the playoffs, the Giants could be dangerous. Now, of course, I'm always going to say that I'm biased. And that's just true. I am biased. I'm a New York Giants fan, been a Giants fan my whole life. Some of you guys know how old I am. But like I said, I'm no spring chicken. The New York Giants making the playoffs is such a big deal to me and to a lot of the fan base. And right now, the only thing standing in our way are the Indianapolis Colts. And I always say, you never sleep on an opponent. Never sleep on an opponent. Respect your opponent. Any given Sunday, anything can happen. The Colts can wipe the floor with us. We saw how many points they put up against the Minnesota Vikings in that first half. So anything is possible. So I need these guys to be focused. And I have all the trust in the world that Brian Dable will have these guys focused. I saw a lot of the interviews that they put out this week. One was Julian Love, and one was Brian Dable himself. And a lot of the beat writers were asking him, how do you feel about this week? We know this is a winning your end type of situation. And Brian Dable said the politically correct thing when he said, we just taking it one game at a time. We have the Indianapolis Colts coming in, and we need to be able to prepare and get ready to beat a good team. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, yes, this is a winning your end situation. I want him to channel the late Coach Fossil, Jim Fossil, and say, this team is going to the playoffs. That's what I want to hear. But I know you just can't say that. I understand that, but I want that type of moxie from my head coach, especially in this situation where there's only one team right now today that's stopping you from making the playoffs. We got to make this happen. We absolutely got to make this happen. But again, I think it's very possible. Very possible. And I get excited when I'm thinking about it because, again, there was a handful of people that, thought this season was going to be successful. At the beginning of the year, I was one of those guys saying, okay, we have 6 to 8 to 9 wins. I wanted 7 wins to be the floor. Right now, we're at 8 wins. 9 wins gets us into the playoffs. And you're like, we're almost here. It's so close. It's so close. And I can't wait for Sunday to get here in this game. I can't wait for this game to be over, actually, man. I just want the New York Giants to win this game, take a deep breath, and say that the New York Giants are playing in the playoffs in 2022 for the 2022 season. I want to hear that so bad. I want to feel what that feels like. You know how you're so anxious. I feel like a kid at Christmas where it's 3 in the morning. You wake up early. Doggone well you can't touch none of those presents under the tree. That's how I feel right now in this Giants situation. I can see the gifts under the tree. I see the playoffs, but I can't touch them yet. But on Sunday, when the time runs out, the New York Giants could be in the playoffs, and that's big. So big for me, man. That's so big for you out there. If you're tuning in to me, I know you got to be a pretty big, Giants fan, because there's a lot of Giants content creators out there, way more famous than me, way more followers than me. And if you're taking the time to vibe with me, that makes me know that you're not just a Giants fan, you're a Giants fanatic. Because I'm just a small channel here. But again, I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Let me get into this prediction, though. I have the New York Giants beat the Indianapolis Colts 20-14, maybe 20-13. That's going to be the range, but I think we score 20 points. I think the big thing is we score more points than the Colts to win this game. So I'll leave it at that. Whether it's 20-14, 20-13, 20-17, the New York Giants score more points than the Indianapolis Colts. And now I can go ahead and end it. I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.